One of the most polarizing and controversial trading card games ever has made its return in the form of the MetaZoo relaunch. Is this game worth the wait? Is this something that should have made a return, or is it better left bankrupt? Boom. The return of MetaZoo, MetaZoo, GameCubator Labs, bringing it back. We can see that in the front. We've got Sun Wukong. And if you don't know anything about MetaZoo, I'll get into and explain it as we get into the box. It's my first opening of MetaZoo, my first MetaZoo, true MetaZoo booster box. I'll talk about that more too. MetaZoo, where to even begin? Where to start? So we're going to do a very high level overview. For this time going through the product, I really just want to get my hands on it, see how it feels, see if I even like it. And then we can also talk about, there's a little look at the box art. Wukong looks nice. It displays nicely. Just want to get a feel for the cards and talk a bit about it. So number one, was I into MetaZoo to begin with? And what is MetaZoo? So MetaZoo is a trading card and collectible game based off of cryptids. So we can see here we've got the Hopkinsville Goblin, there's the Black Dog of Hanging Hills, and I'll talk about the different rarity levels, things like that. So you can get alternate arts in here, reverse foils, super rares. There are hidden rares, which are 1 per case, and I believe a case is 6 booster boxes. I believe that's the odds. I think 3 alternate arts, so it looks like it's what kind of rarity? So it's a common reverse hollow. So we got a reverse hollow there. I assume the next ones are rare. So okay, we got another. So that one's got a star. So is that a rare? Probably a rare. So a triple star is like an alternate art. Okay, so we're getting a lot of foils in this pack. I didn't know you could get so many hollows in a single pack. I had no idea you could get so many foils in one pack. So that's it to start there. What is MetaZoo? It's a game based off of cryptids and casters. So a lot of similarities and parallels that are made to Pokemon. And in a more structured video, I could let you know a bit more about Mike and the original founder of MetaZoo and how it went through a bankruptcy. I was not truly a MetaZoo fan. There was something that I did get into, which I'll show here in a moment, but there's a reverse hollow on the common because it's a circle. Wow, that guy looks awesome. So we've got a dragon of some sort, a dragon. The art looks pretty cool. Our next hit, the the ho-oh. It's a ho-oh. It's like a phoenix. It's really cool. And then aura. So not expecting so many hollows per pack. MetaZoo's, so to begin with, in terms of what was the original MetaZoo like, I'll show you some cards after this pack. But the original MetaZoo art, and I'll even throw some on the screen now just for comparison, it was very polarizing. It was very polarizing. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. There's our first reverse hollow. And that was, okay, got the, gosh, what's his name? Dinklebell? Something like that. I cannot remember. Whoa! So that's our first super rare, Phoenix, and Aura? Aura. This is a MetaZoo 2nd edition booster box. You can get these basically for free these days. And MetaZoo was something that was born out of the pandemic. You can see there's some of the cards. Here's some individual cards. I picked some of these up in like different collections. I've opened packs of MetaZoo before, but here's like Chessie, which is like a form of the Loch Ness Monster. Very different art style. So like that's a rare there. Here's a rare now. So the art looks polished. The old MetaZoo cards, again, very polarizing. Some people love them, some people hate them. Some people, I think, convinced themselves that they liked it. The back of the card with the red just seems less polished. Is, in my opinion, a less polished product. Was I excited to hear that MetaZoo is coming back? Not especially. This back looks much nicer. Really like what they did with this. It looks very clean. Here's again comparing the old back. So they kept the logo pretty much the same. You can see how the O's kind of point in towards one another, but it looks basically the same, I would say. A little more polished maybe. But a new group of people came in after the bankruptcy. Some people tied to Pokemon, other trading card enthusiasts. They did a nice announcement video explaining what the card game would look like. A lot of focus on gameplay, as opposed to in the past, there was a lot of conversations just around value. And out of the gate, I think that was a bit of what was doomed to fail with MetaZoo, was that it tried to be so much bigger than it really was. And that is shown definitely through, whoa, awful. That is a super cool art. It's shown through the prices of the old product. Kickstarter edition. So MetaZoo was originally a Kickstarter game, and it was propped up by one of the most influential Magic the Gathering. He does Pokemon and other card games, but his name's Rudy from Alpha Investments. And I'd say he was the gasoline on the fire. It was during the pandemic. There was stimulus money. People were letting that cash slosh around. They were looking for the places to put it, and MetaZoo was right there for the taking. People wanted to be on board with whatever the next hotness was going to be. Pokemon was going crazy at the time. Whoa, super rare Bigfoot being very ferocious. That was, I think, the beginning of the end. Is that Snallygaster? That was cool. I know I'm kind of going fast through these arts. There are 36 packs. I want to make sure that we can do this in somewhat of a timely manner. You can slow down, pause, jump into our first reverse Mothman. Speaking of which, Mothman. So there's the kind of the old Mothman artwork a bit. Shout out MetaZoo Black Market. When I first was learning about MetaZoo and kind of dabbling in it, I met them on Instagram. Fantastic community. They just love the game. They love the things. Kentucky Hellhounds right there. And I got to shout them out. They've been so faithful and consistent to this game through and through. Mothman is quote unquote like the Charizard of MetaZoo. Mothman commands the biggest prices, sought after. In fact, there is a returning artist. He goes by Poncho. And Poncho has some of the most coveted arts. In fact, one of the things that I really like that they talked about in the announcement trailer from going over this new set was how much the artists are involved in this and how tied in they are. There was a lot of speculation and complaints about the last ownership. And again, I don't want to talk too negatively about it. It speaks for itself. It went bankrupt, and there's a lot of paths to that happening. I don't think there's just one simple answer. That is a super rare Ziz. That coloration looks very nice. There was a card game called like Imagination or something like that when I was a kid. This kind of reminds me of it. I've been doing trading card games my entire life, like since I was 7 years old. I mean, I was even getting Tops, Jurassic Park Tops, or Upper Deck or something like that. They were hard, cardboard style cutout cards. But Kickstarter was the originally how this was funded, and there was just so much gasoline poured on about the FOMO of don't miss out on being the first on the new wave. And we saw that happen with Sorcery. We had Rudy from Alpha Investments, and I'm not saying he shilled or pumped and dumped this, but I would have to argue that he was critical in the adoption of MetaZoo and it having visibility. And that was exactly it, is that initially with that Kickstarter project, there was a lower supply. With the lower supply, you had the first to market, people speculating how it's going to be good or if it's going to be great. And then the printing started. And then you had Nightfall, and UFO was really the set that, oh, that's sick. That looks really cool. It kind of looks a little too humanoid for me. But can you do that? The same card twice in the same holo pattern? I guess that can happen. I don't know. I guess. And I realize I'm a bit all over the place right now. So if there's some questions, things you want to know about MetaZoo, again, I wasn't the biggest MetaZoo fan. I got really into their Topps collaboration, though, with their serialized Topps cards. And I'll show you an example of that. That is what I collected of MetaZoo. I did not collect the individual cards. They just really, whoa, that looks really nice. The foiling pattern, you can see the big galaxy swirl on that. It's got to be the same style. I mean, this is like traditional old school Pokemon hollowing right there. Whoa, that looks beautiful. Love that. Love the way that looks. That's a super rare too. That's not even like an alternate art. This is what I collected. So here we have a PSA 10 Loveland Frogman, green refractor. So it's color match, looks really nice. We can see it's serialized out of 99. Now, when I say I have a lot of serialized MetaZoo cards, I have a lot, like in the thousands, a lot. It was just something that I really got hooked on. The cards were cheap. I'm talking like you can get serialized out of 99 for like $4, like that kind of deal. I was picking up gold refractors. I have many X out of 5s, and I just thought it was fun. It was really cool. They did different color refractors, stuff like that, and I opened some packs. But I went a little, the Piazza Bird original art. You can see that. Well, you can't see it, it's behind the camera. This was an old fan favorite. It's a reverse holo on the Piazza Bird, and then, or maybe it's a regular holo. I cannot tell what is reverse holo and what is regular holo yet. So far, no hidden rares. So far, no alternate arts. And those are really where the value, if you want to call it, that's at. But I'm not trying to value chase out of this. If this were Pokemon or Magic, I would be paying much more attention to values. Like, oh, that Jersey Devil is so cool. That Jersey Devil is awesome. I'd be much more focused on that. This is really just to have the experience. See what they did with MetaZoo. So far, I gotta say I'm impressed. The card quality feels nice. If you had ever... Oh, Chupacabra, they made so cutesy. Why they nerf my boy? Okay. Mothman. Okay. That Mothman looks really nice with the galaxy behind it. Again, not sure if that's a reverse holo. I'll try and find some more information on what reverse holos are now, or if this is just holo. The other huge elephant in the room with the old MetaZoo is that the gameplay was determined by fourth wall breaking. For example, what color shirt you're wearing. Is it raining outside? It makes tournament play less serious. It made it a little more hokey. Now, there were a lot of people who defended it, who said at conventions that they set up terrain or things like that. But if you really, in my opinion, if you want a game to scale the competitive element, Sun Wukong in the super rare version, not the alternate art, there has to be some levels of predictability to be able to metagame and take it seriously. And with the old MetaZoo, that was one of the biggest complaints. That being considered, many of the people who are buying MetaZoo, I would argue, were speculative. They were chasing redemption cards. So they did like skateboards that you could redeem. You could find like red and blue ink where it was a secret rare. They did like secret rare chase cards. Oh, the Cumberland Dragon. Holo. These pinks look really nice. Coming up, Trample. Super rare. It's got Babe the Blue Ox on it. A little grip of packs left. And no alternate arts. The alternate arts are textured, same as how Pokemon does it. And that was one of the things too that with the original MetaZoo had a bit of a watercolor style art. If you ask, I guess this is my video. I'm doing the one talking. I'm doing the asking, right? I think they tried a bit too hard to recapture what Pokemon did at its launch. Ding Bell, not Dinklebell. I can't. It's Ding Bell's its name. I think it was a bit forced. This feels like an honest attempt. Thunderous Feather. I know it's a business. I know businesses want to make money, but this very much feels like if you check out the socials and you check out the announcement video, this feels like a labor of love. I get the impression that the people who bought this knew it was a high risk. They felt that the IP had some potential with cryptids and cryptids being relatable with so many places in the world. I do get behind that, and I think that's cool. People can celebrate or get connected to a local character, maybe if there's an urban legend by where they live, like the Jersey Devil, or whoa, Sun Wukong alternate art. That is cool. Alt art. Wow, you can see all of that texture too. We've got it in the light there. Let's get it on a sleeve. If you are going to get an alternate art, that is one to try and chase. This and Mothman are the two. I mean, it's the cover art character, it's the one of the chase cards, but this looks fantastic. And again, I don't know how many videos are out with this kind of stuff, so I'd like, if you're researching this or you want to just learn a bit more, want to be able to see the texture and see what's going on with the card, So there you go. Sun Wukong, title character in the alternate art. Very exciting. All right, well, two to three alternate arts per box, maybe something like that. That's the numbers that I've been hearing. Not all alternate arts, same as Pokemon, not all alternate arts have the same demand or the same interests. That character is one that people have an interest in. Mothman, another one that people are really excited for. There are hidden arts, as I did mention, and we will know it when we see it. The hidden art, I believe there's 3, 4. I'll have to confirm. Oh, that is an alternate art Mothman. Oh, and the texture's different. Do you see how it's circular? It's like Bubble Mew. I think that's kind of like what's on the Japanese Pokemon cards. Let's get in a sleeve. Wow, this box is going crazy. Back to back alternate arts. The two arguably most popular characters, Mothman being more popular, I'd say, than Wukong. Wow, Mothman alternate art, very cool. I don't know if my excitement there was appropriate. Should I be like jumping out of my chair? I really, like I said, I didn't get into this one trying to chase and know what the values are. I'll put some last sold on eBay. I mean, is this absolutely cracked? Like, was that really lucky? I don't know. I do not know. This is my first ever experience. I mean, this is everyone's first ever experience with this product, because this is the first printing of the relaunch of MetaZoo, and everyone's just learning what they're doing with the product. 6 packs left to go. If you've made it this far in the video, I gotta say thank you so much for taking some time to check this out. My name's Chris. I'm relatively new to YouTube. I started back in December, and I try and upload at least 1 to 2 videos a week. This is my busy season, so I'm committing to at least 1 video a week. No matter how busy I am, you know, I gotta make it happen. I love trading cards. I love doing this, and it's something that keeps me a bit grounded to the hobbies. You know, sometimes I think as we get into our careers or do what we do, you know, it's like when you're a kid, you want to be able to play all the video games you want. You get older, you can play, but you don't have any time, or, you know, you get home from work and you're too tired. Same thing kind of happens with me with my hobbies, right? But I'm able to do MagicCon. Like, that's a really big deal for me. I love to do MagicCon and make pre-release, and that's about like what I'm able to do maybe once a season for like a new Magic set. My friends and I will get together to do a draft or a sealed, but can't do, like, I just can't make it to F&M, you know, Friday Night Magic every week. I can't hit all of the Pokemon pre-releases. That is cool. Really like that rainbow background. This looks similar, much closer to like the original MetaZoo art for hit Billy Wax Club, big old club. Even if we don't get another alternate art, I'm excited. I mean, I'm done, right? Like, unless I want to chase getting a hidden art, like that's it. Like, you got the Mothman. Whoa. Got a hollow token. I misspoke earlier when I said it was an aura. But this is a token. I think super rare next. No, okay, no super rare. That foiling again looks very nice for our bigger hit. Whoa, Lady Luck. A little waifu action going on in here. But I mean, look at the printing quality. I mean, this looks good. 3 more packs, 3 more shots. I do have more booster boxes of this. They're not going for too much right now, all things considered. So what are my final thoughts as we move through these packs? What I'll say is this: if you genuinely like the art, if you are approaching this for the fun of cracking packs, I think this is a nice option right now with the current pricing. I think they're around 90 to 100 bucks ish per booster box. There are good looking artworks, printing quality looks nice, and it's a fun, whoa, super rare on the Basilisk. Is this the next big thing? Probably not. Is this something that I think if, all right, here's my true final thoughts. Please keep your print supply tight. That is my one thing. I will continue to buy your product, and I will engage and be enthusiastic about the experience of looking at the arts if we keep the print runs tight. Yes, does it make it volatile if there was all of a sudden a surge of interest? That's something we run the risk of. Yeah, absolutely. But I think what they can do best here is to keep the print runs tight, engage with a niche audience. That awful art looks incredible. That is with the sunset in the sky. This is similar to, or is the original artwork. Please just keep that print run tight. the Billy Whack monsters. So we got the actual club, and then we got Billy Whack himself. Final pack here, and I think that will help the game survive. People will buy the product if it doesn't tank to not it be anything. There needs to be some sort of niche market that wants this. There has to be a secondary market. I know value and I know money is something that people think is an evil part of collectibles as we're getting into hollows, but truthfully, otherwise be a game like Smash Up, if you know what Smash Up is. I have nothing against for the love of gameplay, but as soon as you enter the collectible part of a TCG, that's when things change. That's when you got to really be diligent and have a tight print run. That's when we really got to care about those things. I'll talk more about that later. Coming up to our last hit. Whoa, we got a super rare on the Rainbow Crow. Very fun. There you have it. The relaunch of MetaZoo. My first impressions of it. I have to say, hats off. I'm impressed with their follow through and their ability there to deliver a quality product. It takes a lot to get a trading card game off the floor. This was theirs to lose. They have everything to prove when it comes to the relaunch of MetaZoo with its history, the tainted name. Honestly, I was surprised to see the amount of money go back into it as far as trying to relaunch it, but the people behind it have a belief. I'm going to continue to engage with this product. I think it is something fun to have on the side, in addition to like Pokemon and Magic, because it is a bit of an underdog, and it's a different type of underdog in the sense of how it was approached last time versus this time. I'd like to add, I still have not looked up the prices of any of the cards. I want my raw take of what I'm seeing not to be influenced by what potentially the resale value could be, because truly, in order for there to be a healthy secondary market, there has to be a demand for that price, and prices are created through the demand, the scarcity, and then the demand. I keep using that word, but anyway, I digress. What I see and what I'm looking at feels intentional, with a purpose for a long-term goal, and that long-term goal being finding its audience. That's the impression I get from it. They're taking feedback from the community right now in a way that I would say makes sense. It can become dangerous once you start to try and please everyone, because then you please no one. It seems like the intuition and things they're doing so far, especially with leaning into art first, leaning into gameplay first, that type of thing, let then the secondary market take care of itself. Don't try and force a secondary market, but understand the dynamics of it. I could talk on and on and on. This is just the conclusion here. So my name's Chris. If you'd like to see more MetaZoo content, let me know, because it'll eventually happen. But if there's positive feedback from this video, I'll make it sooner rather than later. Please subscribe if you haven't. Again, I really do appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Check out one of these ones. In the meantime, I'll see you then. Much love. Cheers.